Alright, so SketchUp is an incredible tool for interior designers, but beginners often make the same mistakes that will slow them down. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 7 most common errors and how to avoid them so you can model faster and more confidently. So you always want to make sure you've started with the correct units. So this can mean File, New from Template, making sure you choose the right template when you get started. If you've already gotten started, all you need to do is go to Window, Model Info, and check those units and make sure they're set to the ones that you're wanting to use. Ignoring axis alignment. So you always want to make sure, especially when you're drawing things that are more architectural as well as things for kitchens and bathrooms, things with a lot of rectilinear shapes, that you're aligning things to the axis. So essentially, this is going to help make sure you can edit the object really easily, so punch out holes if needed, or move it and align things to it as needed, and so on. But when you're drawing lines, you want to make sure, instead of just kind of eyeballing it, make sure, unless you really need to draw a line at an angle, that it's otherwise snapped to one of the axes. So there's the red axis, and there's the green axis, red again, let's go all the way over here. And then we also have the blue axis going up. Now, if you do need to do an intentional angled line, that's fine. But you want to make sure, for the most part, if you mean to draw a rectangle, that rectangle should really be aligned to the various axes in order for it to be something easily editable. What happens if you don't align to the axes? So for example, if I am drawing a line here, and then maybe we're ever so slightly off the red axis, but we're going to kind of go back over there, something like that. I can pull it up, and this actually starts to look like a pretty decent wall. Then maybe I want to draw a rectangle on the wall, and I want to push-pull it out to pop open that window. And this is where I run into trouble. I'm not able to kind of push that window in and create a hole. Alternatively, if I had drawn a wall aligned to these axes, so this is a really thick wall, but aligned to the axes, draw my rectangle, then push-pull it in, I can then go to the face of the opposite side of the wall and create an opening. So you give yourself a lot more flexibility as well as more precision and accuracy when you are drawing a line to axes. Overusing high poly 3D models. Now, I love the 3D warehouse as much as the next guy, but sometimes you can go overboard unintentionally and really slow down your model. So, for example, you might think that some of these plants are absolutely perfect and really great for kind of showing something off in your design. However, it might be that the file size is a little bit too high. So for example, this is a really kind of simple pot, but it's 21 megabytes. Now, for an individual model, that might not be that much, but imagine a whole house or a whole apartment building and you've added in a lot of these different plants. Then you could really slow down your file unintentionally. So you want to be mindful when you're using models from the 3D warehouse or other downloadable sources that you pay attention to the size of those components, because a lot of complex models with a lot of different kind of shapes and surfaces can really slow down the overall file performance. Another thing that might be slowing your model down is if you've downloaded a bunch of different components and maybe you're not using them all. Those components are actually still loaded into your file. So you want to make sure you periodically purge any unused components. So you can do this by going to your components window and clicking this little button here and say purge unused, or you can go to Window, Model Info, and go to Statistics, and then again click purge unused. This is going to clean up your model and make sure you don't have any of the objects that you're not really using anymore, so your model will work a little bit faster. Ignoring shortcut keys. So I am all for learning shortcut keys. I think it makes you work so much faster and intuitively, and so you're not always struggling with finding the button, but you're actually focusing on the design task or the creative task. So getting comfortable with your shortcuts can make your life so much easier in the long run. Now, if you need help practicing with your shortcuts, I do have a little shortcuts cheat sheet that you can download via the link below. But I promise it will help you work 10 times faster if you start to get comfortable with those. Don't ignore them when you're getting started, actually practice with them. Not understanding export options. So when you've worked really hard to create a beautiful model and you're ready to present it, you can sometimes make the mistake of presenting it either as a screenshot or as default settings. So don't present it as a screenshot. Instead, go to File, Export 2D Graphic. When you're exporting it, make sure you don't have Use View Size checked because that's going to be a lot lower resolution. Bump that up. Now, I typically am doing it where it's 2,500 pixels across, but essentially you just want to make sure you're bumping up that resolution because that's going to give your model a lot crisper of a look when it's exported as a 2D graphic. So for example, this has given us a much crisper version of this drawing than the one we have on screen. The edges are not nearly as pixelated as they would be with the default settings, and it's ready to go drop in as an image file within a presentation software. And last but not least, it's skipping out on any proper model organization. Now, if you're just getting started, it can feel like an unnecessary next step, but I promise you it will save you so much of a headache in the future where you can actually edit things as needed and adjust things and show different options and so on. So what I mean by proper model organization is making sure you're using groups, components, and tags to really make sure the model is really easy to organize and show off. So for example, in this project, we have existing things showing in a particular group of tags. We have the design itself showing within a particular group of tags. And we have all of the imported CAD layers as their own tags as well. Then, within the model itself, things are organized as groups and components and so on for easy organization as well as easy editing. And there you have it. So those are my 7 common beginner mistakes when I see students using SketchUp for interiors for the first time. If you're looking to dive in a bit deeper, understanding some of these core skills, as well as going into some more advanced workflows, I do have a SketchUp for Interior Designers course. You can find the link to that in the description, but I also have a couple of freebies for you. So you can find a SketchUp starter guide download down below, as well as your SketchUp shortcuts cheat sheet. See you in the next one.